Folks, you know, Barbara Streisand is very popular among the libs. But apparently, this guy here, Keith Edwards, is not familiar with the Streisand
I
effect.
must admit I have a soft spot for Yentl.
Yeah, there you go. The Streisand effect, this guy hasn't heard of, apparently. Keith Edwards was the same guy who tweeted out the video of Shama Sawant, which went mega viral the other day. We did a segment on that. Shama saying, our goal is to rally Muslim and Arab voters to vote for Jill Stein in such numbers that they take enough support from Kamala to cost her Michigan and cost her the White House. And he bitched about that on Twitter, and it caused this very viral meltdown. Well, apparently he wanted to do it again. He says, breaking, as Dr. Jill Stein looks on, Jill Stein endorser Hassan Abdel Salam, who is the founder of Abandon Biden, now Abandon Harris, obviously, admits their goal is for Donald Trump to win the election. So let's take a look at this video.
Make no mistake that this rumble of abandon guarantees a failure for the vice president, the loss of Michigan, and the loss of the White House. That we can depose the leaders who sit atop a superpower, a success that will happen immediately when we know the results on the 5th of November.
So there you go. And look, Jill Stein looking on as she looks on in the background. Dun, dun, dun. This is, like I said, once again, you know, this didn't go as viral as the first one, but 677,000 views. He really gets a lot of eyeballs on this as if this is bad publicity. This is great publicity. Like we said last time, I've been wanting third-party candidates and activists to talk like this for the longest time. And, you know, the reason I wanted to do this segment, even though the last one was admittedly similar, is because one point that I wanted to make last time that I'll make this time is that this is really a reflection of Shama's skills as an organizer. Because Shama was really the glue that bound together the Abandon Harris and the Green Party. The event in Chicago was not a Green Party event. It was not an Abandon Harris event. It was a Workers' Strike Back event. So what Shama obviously saw was she saw these two movements that were sort of gaining momentum on parallel tracks, and she used her organization to sort of fuse them into something that can be more powerful than the sum of its parts, and that seems to be working. And, you know, when we had Shama on our show a couple months back, we had about a half-hour debate of sorts about the efficacy of backing Jill Stein, because at the time we were hesitant to steer people in that direction, and we still are hesitant to tell people to spend your last $5 on the Jill Stein campaign. I wouldn't recommend that, but we do now plan, both of us, to write her in on November 5th, and I advise everybody watching to at least take a few minutes to vote for her on November 5th, whether she's on the ballot or whether you have to write her in. But, you know, Shama's point all along was that we are going to use the Jill Stein campaign as a vehicle to organize an anti-war protest vote. And she really took these two movements and brought them together. That's what a pro does. That's what a winner does. And so, you know, she turned out once again being right. I think she's played this very, very well. I think it was very, very smart to use her organization and her clout with Workers' Strike Back to sort of unite these two movements that were kind of running on parallel tracks. Like, yeah, they both kind of had the same sentiments and the same attitude about what was going on, but the key to organizing is to coalition build. Okay, there's a campaign season going on. We have the Greens running a campaign. We have Abandon Harris running a campaign. Let's bring these two organizations together. Not only do we make maximum impact on election day when we do that, but now we network with each other. So now whatever comes next, we have a bigger pool of people who is more united, who is better familiarized with each other. That's what it's all about. And so, you know, we debated back and forth a little bit, but she ended up playing this exactly right, I think, which is not unusual for her. In fact, she almost always plays these things exactly right. So perhaps we should have just trusted her more at the moment.
That always carried a lot of weight with me tactically. The question, I don't think for you either. The question was never whether Shama's tactical instincts were right. It's, well, do we tell our people to go get involved in the Jill Stein campaign?
Right.
That's two different questions. I always, even as we critiqued it, I saw what she was doing, and I thought it was probably the right move, because you need these presidential campaigns are a great opportunity to bring everyone together around a mission, a focal point. You can get everyone in the same room around something like this, and it's much harder to do when you don't have that. And she's taken full advantage of it. I mean, we know from dealing with her when I was out in Chicago, man, she was blowing up our DMs like, yo, come check this out, which we did.
Right. Yeah.
No, she stays on, and I'm sure with what she does, we're far from the only people she's dealing with, but she's such a relentless organizer. You might as well be, because you'll hear from her. If there's something that you can help with, she will reach out to you. And yeah, a lot of this is without Shama in the picture. Yeah, these things might have just kind of run in parallel.
Exactly. Yeah. So good on her. And, once again, this guy tweets out as if the first one didn't go badly enough. Although I guess there's no such thing as good press for him either. I mean, I guess he got good publicity, but the same guy who tweeted out the video about Shama seems now determined to amplify the point that the Greens and the Abandon Harris and Workers Strike Back are running a combative campaign against the Democratic Party, which I think is, spreading the message far and wide that these third parties should have been spreading from day one. You don't apologize. You don't say, well, we're not really costing the Democrats votes because the people who vote for Green wouldn't have voted at all if it weren't for the Greens. No, you lean into it. I mean, and look, that's true to a large extent. But it's also true that you're trying to radicalize people out of the Democratic Party. Right. And so say that. Say that. Exactly. Like, that's your goal. Just say it. It gives you more power when you say that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
don't apologize for it. Don't run from it.
Well, this is what makes no sense. There's no reason to allow these people to intimidate you into playing nice. They're never going to support you anyway. Right. These people are so petty. They're so vindictive. Elizabeth Warren cannot get a cabinet position because she defied them a little bit. She asked some questions. She pointed out that the primary was rigged. That probably didn't sit too well with them. And then she backed off it, from what I remember. Then she was
she took it back.
And she took it back. That's not good enough for these people. You have to be their creature, body and soul, forever. Or it's like Mean Girls. They're little bitches. There's no reason to accommodate them. They want to call you a Putin puppet. You should wear a fur hat with a hammer and sickle pin next time you see them.
Just troll them.
These people are never, ever, ever going to care what concessions you give them. They're not honest actors. Going right at them. Yeah, we're going to burn your shit down. That's the only language they understand. That's why they accommodate the suburban Republicans.
Right.
They accommodate suburban Republicans because they don't own their vote. They got to understand you will burn their shit down just like those suburban so-called moderates will.
Right. They're afraid that the moderates are going to vote for Trump, and so they court them because they're afraid that if they don't court them, they're going to lose something. Right.
You want them to court you. Stop apologizing.
Right. Stop apologizing for yourself. Right. Say, hey, look. As the polling showed, the Arab American Institute did that poll. Almost all of these protest votes would go to Kamala if she passed an arms embargo. Like they would all just vote for it's not like it's not like they'll never vote for a Democrat under any circumstances. Polling shows, hey, if you stop funding the slaughter of their family members, they'll vote for you. Pretty fair deal, I'd say. So make that known. Make that known and make it known that unless and until they do that, you are not only not voting for them, you are organizing a boycott against them with the express written purpose of costing them the state of Michigan and, by extension, the White House. You say that very plainly and loudly, and let them tweet about it. Let them get angry about it. That just amplifies the message even more. That's why I can't believe this fucking guy did this again. He had almost 3 million views on the first one, and then he goes and does the same thing a second time.
Literally, you cannot buy that kind of publicity.
Exactly.
Please clap.